the studio. I'm very happy and glad to inform you that he's right here in the studio with me live. And I'll take this time to allow him to introduce himself, and we will dive straight into what brings him to Northern Uganda and other plans within the party as National Unity Platform this very time. Mr. President, you're much welcome to the studios of Vice Lango.
Thank you very much, my brother Tim, and to the people of Lango, to the people of Northern Uganda, to the people of Lira, my city, my town. I will say Itie Ononingo to everybody. I'm very, very glad to be here live on the Voice of Lango. It has been a long time, and I feel like I'm home again. With me, I'm with my brother, the Right Honorable Joel Senyonyi, leader of the opposition, and on my right here is our president.
Now, Mr. President, you can let us know the National Unity Platform mobilization drive that brings you to Northern Uganda.
Thank you very much. Yes, it's a mobilization drive, but we're focusing mainly on resilience. Now you'll wonder why resilience? What are we pushing back against? With your permission, Brother Otim, I want to take us back a little bit. You see, when you're approaching a problem or when you're trying to find a solution, it's important to know the genesis of the problem, going back to history and how we got here, how we got so confused as a country, how we ended up so divided and so oppressed. You realize that we, the oppressed people, we are victims of oppression, victims of violence, and also victims of lies. These are two generations that have been deceived. The generation of our parents, our fathers and mothers, and we, the generation that came after. Now we are the fathers, we are mothers, and some of us have already started being grandparents. I really try as much as possible not to talk about the problem or the personification of the problem, which is General Yoweri Museveni and his dictatorial government. However, because we must face it head on, I painstakingly mention it, that this is a person that has confused the country since the days of Idi Amin. We've talked about the root cause of the problem, the abductions, and facts keep coming up pointing to the same person. But now that I'm in Lango, I want us to go back a little bit and look in the 1980s. I mentioned to the people of Gulu, which I want to also substantiate here on radio, that the General Kainda Otafire in 2004, when they were burying Adonia Tiberondwa, an ardent UPC supporter, Otafire mentioned that actually Museveni and his people in the 80s, when they are fighting the government of Dr. Milton Obote, they would dress in UPC uniform, go to villages in Buganda and massacre people in order to create hate for the UPC government, which succeeded. Not only hate for the government, but also for the ethnicity. These are things that divided us because this was a game of General Yoweri Museveni, and it succeeded. And indeed, after 1986, I was speaking a few years ago, maybe 2, 3, to an elder in Northern Uganda, who indeed gave me information that after Museveni took power and he worked with Kaira, who he later, his government murdered, the Baganda soldiers who were Kaira soldiers were deployed in Northern Uganda to cause havoc. Now that was deliberate because eventually this is the hate and anger that many of us inherited. But there was somebody that planned it. Well, long story short, here we are in a nation that has been affected so much. The people of Northern Uganda have seen a brilliant genocide, and I want to encourage all the people of Northern Uganda to go watch that documentary where people like Norbert Mao and others spoke the truth. Unfortunately, later on it was put on our generation. Now we are here, hateful of each other, distrustful of each other, and yet our oppressor is Museveni, who has gotten us here. So I want the people of Uganda to know they're not each other's enemy, but the enemy is one who has kept us in this situation, a person that has destroyed our identities from the north to the south, from the west to the east. Therefore, it's important to come together, face our problems, and discuss solutions moving forward. Having said that, we are on this mobilization drive to empower the people of Uganda and show them that they have the power to turn all this narrative around, to re-identify ourselves as a generation, to march forward, to overcome the oppression, to overcome the corruption, to overcome the backwardness, and indeed to forge a path for a new Uganda. And that is the message that we keep moving forward. And in the coming minutes, I'll share our aspirations and our dream and paint a picture for a new Uganda that the National Unity Platform hopes to usher in. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. In radio, in Jacob Nimano, Yam Tutuan, maybe that year, the Tungmalo, Uganda Tia in radio, Chalo, Love Uganda Tia, and Oko Nimano, Yamapola Pola, but Tima Ratio, Amemio, Kadum, one Kodi Berko Pola, Tumala Uganda Canane, and Mio, Jamabena Gor, Dio, one Twalconi, and Locha Metieni, Dio, Tumala Uganda, maybe Peho, Chachan. Amemano wando yawo mala ka hotel we ko ni o mi o jome to mala me Uganda be jame o be chala do gi be ti tam chala do gi me jamo be ko bigi go ba pikara laj go ba minuti e do ando ko ba ngi mano ngata me mi o pekki du be ti me be ngata me pe mi ro ni lo ko me pigi na be pegere ka pe ho do ti ko mi ri I kemere ke ngoa me te ke lo pe ko mi no me we mo agam me pe ha minuti ko ni ngato ke lo pekki du be president e io il museo na meti come ciao en ko ni o obero ngata me obero mi pek be be dum tutu ade mi aporo kan ko ni ma tna chel e mi abon we mi piera boro ye e da non ne gero o tafire o bin worgi me yiko ngata mo ni adona tibahura me da obero ate ha me UPC no adi tutu ero kuno ente ko ni mano giro biro ro ba jo me UPC e ka de donyo gi kana UPC ti ye e ka de ti gi me we holo to jongi ni giro be UPC ero no giro biro me gam lodge we ho gam gina dang loy dente ko ni ma du biru tie ya kila jama pol ame ber mi ya por ye kan te ko di jome tu mala me Uganda oneni wangi kita me ne khalanyo be tie kere en ko woni tie mena me dum yo wonti kara cheli documentary ame jero dana bala no bad maugi binu lo ya me ko ba teteni me ngamo ti me ko chan kere ne halan amoti me ko nyale me tu mala me Uganda en ko woni manano chawani o mi gino tu mala me Uganda ubino gini pia to pekitia pol mwaki ke mwake mokana ngete be bollo jo me mwana e chawani otikire mwa hayot ame pekitie chiantie chama chana tia duong adage tia me omioro pia dagere ilo wakana me koni gin tien kope no mi gin chalo party me National Unity Platform ubino me katukari chikira gam ikom peki amedo tieno chano imalo malne. Back to you, Mr. President.
Yes,
we'll be talking matters of the plans that the party as National Unity Platform has in the next election.
The plans that we have, not just in the next election, because we are not only looking at an election.
All right.
We are young people who have a plan for Uganda that precedes even our own lives. We want to start afresh and build a new Uganda. We've always said it, that we are in the struggle to put down the Museveni regime. But that's not the end as in itself. As a matter of fact, when we defeat this dictatorship, that will only be the beginning. We have been taught by our forefathers, who we were taught to hate in the first place, that our fight here is against poverty, ignorance, and disease. And indeed, that was Dr. Kote's mission, which we clearly see. Unfortunately, under Museveni, the problem of Uganda has been reduced to one thing: corruption. You see, as a human being, you can have 99 problems until you have a health problem, and then you have one problem. We had so many problems until we have the Museveni kind of corruption, and then we have one corruption, moral corruption, and everything corruption. As a matter of fact, I'll say it here when I'm on Lango FM, a voice of Lango,
Yes.
that we are conditioned to hate past leaders. Even when we are moving on the roads that they constructed, we are taught to hate Amin. Even when we know how Pan-African he was. Of course, he had his mistakes, and I'm not justifying his mistakes. We were taught to hate the past regimes. We were taught to hate President Obote. For example, back in Uganda, that is the narrative that Museveni used. Like I just mentioned, he and his rebels would dress in UPC uniform and go kill our people to teach us to hate that. Even when we know that the hospitals and the roads and the schools that we went to were constructed by those leaders, Obote never drove people off their land. He never exhumed our elders to grab the land and all that. But that is what's happening today. Anyway, we want to point our focus to the future. We are trying to end this regime so that we build a new Uganda where everybody will be free before and under the law, where you come to a radio station and speak your truth and you don't expect to be taken away in a drone like it's happening today, where you know that the law is going to be, justice is going to be accessible for everybody. We want to fight against this poverty, the ignorance and disease. Poverty, we are not reinventing the wheel. It has been there. We had cooperatives that were established in the past governments, which were destroyed steadily and consistently by the Museveni regime. To see that now our cash crops have been destroyed. Coffee, cotton, tobacco, name it. And those that have persisted have been grabbed and taken, owned by a family. The most recent victim crop is coffee. But this happened to cotton, it happened to tobacco, it happened to sugarcane in Busoga. So we want to fight back against that poverty by making sure people own back their income generating activities. Of course, we want to fight against ignorance, we want to improve education. Today, our education is terrible, as you can see. Our health care, needless to talk about it, Justice Mulyagonja was in charge, a former Inspector General of government, crying foul. Here in Uganda, it has been told to us, and everybody has seen it, that everybody, no matter how rich or successful you are only one hospital bill away from brokenness. So we want to fix that. We want to fight corruption, because corruption is the cancer that has killed our country. This corruption is perpetuated and protected by Museveni himself, because most of the corruption in parliament, the corruption in every institution of government. I'm sure you know as a journalist by now that according to the IGG's report, we lose 10 trillion. 10 trillion is stolen by Museveni people every year. And I'm strongly convinced that that is an understatement, because this is official government statistics. It must be more. That we want to stop it. We want to fix the infrastructure. Ensure that roads work and they're worked on. We are still moving on the roads constructed and established by old governments. We want to fix our road network because that money is there. If that money is not stolen, that money can fix our roads, that money can fix our hospitals, that money can fix our schools. We want to make every Uganda equal to the other, to stop the exclusion in the economy, but also in other services. For example, in the military, there's so much tribalism and inequality in the military when it's a national unity platform in leadership of this country. A person recruited in Gulu or Oyam or Atiak or Kasese or Gomba or Chiruhura will be judged the same and promoted the same. Promotion in the military or in police is not going to depend on the language you speak or the shape of your nose or your last name. It is going to be purely on merit. So we want to fix that. One other big problem that we want to deal with is land grabbing. This is at epidemic levels, not only in northern Uganda but everywhere. You've had this problem in Buganda, in Busoga, but now that we are in northern Uganda, you've seen it. From the upper land grabs to this disrespectful allocation of your land to the Balalo, who you cried about for a very long time until just recently when the minister gave them 2 weeks to vacate. But mockingly, Museveni's son Muhoozi came out and tweeted, interestingly in Unyankole, and he said, yes, although you were given 2 weeks, and indeed his father, General Museveni, ordered them to leave, but Muhoozi told them, you cannot leave until I come there. So that and many other injustices will have to end as soon as we get into power. One thing I don't want to forget is that as soon as we assume power, we are going to repeal all those bad laws from the UPDF Act and all these other senseless laws that are oppressive. We are going to repeal them and ensure that Ugandans live in dignity and in freedom like it should be in a democracy.
Thank you. Someone would ask, you've said there is a lot of tribalism in the military and inequality.
Yes.
In terms of
Yes.
definitely the tribe and the district where you come from.
Yes.
During the recruitment process, they pass every district and recruit members. Like recently in the Uganda police, they passed everywhere in the country, canvassing the country, doing the interviews and taking the people. What makes you say there is tribalism?
Yes, because I see the reality. Do you know the generals we have? Okay, you see them. Are they representative of the nation? Certainly not. They're not a national character. But leave the military alone. Go to all ministries. Go to Uganda Revenue Authority and listen to the language they speak there. Go to the airport of Uganda. Listen to the language that they speak there. Look at all the military high command, all the high-ranking police officers. Go and look at the RPCs and DPCs all over Uganda. Even here in Lira, I will not need to inform you. I mean, look at the CDF, the head of the military. Look at the head of police and those that come. Look at the Commissioner General of Prisons. They all come from the same the same region.
Thank you.
I mean, needless to say, the same family. So, I think I don't need to substantiate my point. It is self-explanatory. This is a tribal government. This is a family rule, and it must stop because all Ugandans need to be represented in the leadership of the country.
Thank you, Ssentamu. I'm a ngeye kidi nying me Bobby Wine. Me well studio kan ana penye iko mango agindino tiyo chalo parliament national unity platform. Iko peki amero ko ni duong tu mal me Uganda ni man chelo ngam ni manon kai ne binu do yin lodge chalo parliament national unity platform. Gino binu chaku ni tit gero lo Uganda nyen. Ame gino binu timo eka me weke gin kado do yo kota gero Uganda nyen. Obiru chakwa geya nyen pi jodushu metilo Uganda lo wenyikom chan lo wenyikom lo hechonye lo wenyikom pe home tuo ma mantio dio jowa pe ku kena ko ni dum tie dite yili lo alo bro pe home chano chana ameno ko ni en e binu lo ya tek total ke pari mera ke teach gidushu national unity platform eno ko ni mano pe ho kena metia dum tie ni chawani lo cha metia ke geme de metia ponyo wa me wan dag go tera wa chon ya pore mi dag president amin e kun ka beda mana mino tiyo jama bache pila woni mino dago borre kun ka beda mana bor tiyo jama bache pila woni en ko ni mano ber gina metie na hayondo lo bodi meno kana no president chon bino tiyo di chawani biro ni wano dage no ko ni idonyo gi lodge chalo gino biru gero Uganda nyen e bino mi yobera gonya ame ngara chechel bera gonya kayi toro chiko tero te pidi ngola tira bera tie pijo dushu me pe home tuo chan e beda peti no ko ni pe ku kana motime lo Uganda tieni Ugama tu era joko na hakari pur eno ko ni manu chem arek jo pur kan ya pore le bana muan a chochoki ko per bele lieto twal mano ko ni taba ya kina meno kene pama meno re jo pur che chukana mando ko anya du pe eno mi go mere don pe ko kena ko ni tielo Uganda jawne be pe ki me poñere pe ki me yot kom ko ni pe ho me yot kom tie dum tu twala me kany be ngale lo Uganda chawani kayin ko be la let itu ye ka chiel e ka chiel ni me tie tum duj ida hatal anu yini wo cheni wo tiu kere menu mo kanyo ko pianto welda hatal ti malu amedang no kanyo jo du pera mo ngeno ko ni chan ti dongi dogolo mi apol ikom report ame kweda ame otio ri tajero ko ni manano imwa he mwa halo Uganda ro chiene ame ro trillion apal ame ko ni dang tu boda ta mi pe ko ba ber kar ke jo dong kar kan ko and to Piendung, no, or the general, Poquero Manupi and Ginu Gamin Uron Cobana. One time, I'm coming up a hard doom to a large lobo, Monogamit, Polawak, a joy moin, and Korea Parapohatia, Duong to 12, to charge a lobek the rock, and the larger Ginu Rasha Yalobek, get a woman and get it, and Lobek get a wine and get your district, ya to be me, Memoin bit of picture to show. And go on a honey, cope my lobo, tear doom to 12, and then me a porco, Nilo mea pa, and I have copper tear me peltum, Ilau can a war magazine, I don't love go on animal, the quine of Balaraco, while low me lao, and a chilly baby. And I have gone, what a president, a general Moses in a dead of kettle, could go in Mano, put picture of me, I couldn't show a lamp of God, could go in, where you dog with Balaro, put on me a guy and put baby. Member of the copper and a copy yore. Communicate Gino Child National Unity Platform, Gino me you get him. Chico Kennedy Amen Coni Gor Conya Pay, Ubil Quanu Gino, ya portable chick, no more may you PDF act, no trial or chocky, Conimano give me Quanu. Ya Pena Penny Gericom, no man, Tier, and Mohonimano, and Daga, get up Mohammed Rock, Tier, is your moon, get go quick, and take a Nimano, a Pohatia don't the Penaniana, and then General D. Ameti Uganda Ghana me kaine ni roki in unity ram. Ukoni kana what you teach me you are a kachi what teach me like dege a Uganda Airlines. A kachi ke don command don imo in karachi ke RDCs ke DPCs ameti inungoni petiara ram your maroti pay. Koni premier de elodi ya pola. We'll take a very short break. When we return, we'll take off again with you, Mr. President. You let us know if at all you have some partnership with the other political parties who are also in the same race to free Uganda, like opposition political parties have always said. This is Voice of Lango, and keep it here. In case you've just tuned in, we are hosting the President of the National Unity Platform, Bobby Wine, Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. Keep it here.